Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode here on the Ripple Effect server with me, Vanillaraccoon. Heyo! And in this episode, we are going to be transforming this entire village. Now that does not necessarily mean that we are going to be transforming every single structure within it. No. I simply do not have all the time in the world to do just that, but what it does mean is that we are going to be transforming most of the structures within it, and then we'll either leave a few structures standing, or we may just tear down a few, and in their place we can do one of two things. We can either 1. Leave the new plot completely vacant, or 2. Establish something entirely new that will not only be beneficial to the testificates that inhabit this village, but will also be beneficial to our fellow server mates in the off chance that they wander over to this section of the server. Now, I want to take this time to just briefly mention that I do plan on making a comeback to live streaming. For those of you who do not know, I live stream over at mixer.com/Vanillaraccoon. And if you haven't done so already, then be sure to go over there right now and then drop a follow, but make sure you have notifications enabled so that way you then know when I will begin to broadcast. But with these live streams, I do plan on streaming at least once a week and at least for an hour and a half. And that's only because I don't want to just completely get back into streaming like I used to, where I may stream for 2+ hours. I mean, I'm just getting back into this, so I don't want to overdo it, nor do I want to burn myself out with this. But my content for streams are mainly going to be the Ripple Effect server, and also World of Raccoons. For those of you who don't know, aside from having this Minecraft SMP series on the channel, I also produce a Minecraft single player Let's Play series. So if you would like to check that out, then it is one of the featured playlists on the front of the channel, so be sure to check that out. But with that all being said, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you have a fizzy beverage along with a healthy snack at the ready to consume, and let's begin this Let's Play. Well, ladies and gentlemen, phase 1 of the transformation project has been fully completed, and before we begin phase 2, I thought I would take this time to just showcase what it is that I've done during phase 1. So as you can tell right here, we used to have a double crop farm, but in its place we're going to establish a small flower garden, and we may even plant a few happy little trees. Now as we move up here, you'll see that we have a single crop farm that used to be a double crop farm, but I reduced it to be only one so that we can fit all of this here within the confines of this space. Now, in the event that our local farmer has to work during inclement weather such as it is right now, we at least have the torches placed down so that it can keep him or her fairly warm, and he or she doesn't have to worry about catching a cold. Now, we also had a double crop farm sitting right here, but I decided to take it down only because as I was getting my build on, I couldn't help but think that we already have a substantial amount of food being grown around the area, and we don't need any more to be grown, because then that would be overdoing it. So what I'm thinking of doing is taking that 5x5 structure over there, and I'm going to tear it down, and then I'm going to rebuild it over here in this space just behind the butcher shop, so that way then the white coat, who if memory serves correctly is a cartographer, can live within it. And even though he is a cartographer, we'll just pretend by using our imagination that as a hobby he likes to grow various crops, and he also is responsible for tending to all the farms within this village. Now, like the farm back there, this one down here is going to be growing beetroots and carrots, whereas this one over here is going to be focusing on potatoes, and then this one right here will be focusing on wheat. So let's begin to talk about phase 2. What I'm thinking of doing is taking a good long look at all the structures that we have currently within this village, and I'm going to try and figure out which ones I want to keep in their place and which ones I may want to tear down and relocate, like the villager's house right there, and then also figure out which houses, or which structures I should say, I want to tear down completely, so that we can try and figure out what we can put in their place for for example, the one villager house right there that is 5 blocks in length and 4 blocks in width. I don't know about you guys, but I at least struggle with being able to transform those type of structures into something new and being fairly happy with the end result. So if anything, I'm just going to tear it down and leave that spot vacant. And seeing as how we do have another one of those 5x4 villager houses kind of camouflaged within the hillside here, I'm just going to leave it where it is because it's not hurting anyone, and also it's not so much an eyesore if it's out of the way. And like they say, out of sight, out of mind. Hello everybody. Phase 2 of the transformation project has been fully completed. And before we go ahead and show you what it is that I've done off camera, I thought I would take this moment to just tell you that we're currently standing within a cave that I had begun to carve out within the side of a hill, and I'm considering the idea of coming back here during a live stream to help try and make the place look a little more naturally formed rather than player made. So let's go ahead and just quickly run up through here, hop over the bushes, and then let's begin with the tour. So this structure and this structure look fairly identical to one another. The only differences, if there are any, would be the placements of the slabs and the stairs, and that they are positioned in different ways and facing different ways, and also possibly inverted. If we make our way right here, you'll see that we have what I'm going to refer to as the archer's nest. And if we just quickly take a peek inside of here, you'll see that we have a stairwell that leads all the way up to here. This is where the archer can stand at and then overlook things and try and safeguard the village from any possible threat that may come by. Now if we quickly run up here and then do some Assassin's Creed parkour, we can look at what I had done with the blacksmith. As you can tell, it looks fairly the same. However, the roof is not the same as how it originally looked. And so what we have is our little lava sources right here, and then we have a little roof over top. And then if we take a peek inside of here, you'll see that we have some open space. So if we were to run around and jump around, we don't have to worry about bumping our head on that, and that's perfectly okay. But once we begin phase 3, which I'll touch on in a moment, we may not have all that room to run around and jump around within. Coming around the back here, you'll see that we have 2 furnaces, and they are both full to the brim with coal. And the reason why I placed the furnaces back here is so that, one, in the event that I'm in need to quickly smelt or cook something and I don't have the time to quickly run inside of the butcher shop, I could just come around here, throw it into the furnaces, and they'll begin to cook. And 2, in my resource pack, they kind of look like ventilation shafts. So if we were to use something called our imagination, then we can pretend that the blacksmith, who has been working long and hard throughout the day and night, is starting to have some smoke build up, and that smoke is going to need a place to exit at, as opposed to just bottling up like a fizzy beverage until it's ready to pop and then spread all over the place. So we can just pretend that the smoke is going to exit the blacksmith shop right back here. Now, this butcher shop, for the most part, looks fairly the same as it did before I even had begun to transform it. And you may be telling yourself that I wasted some iron and redstone to create these pistons that act only as support beams for the overhang of our roof. But sometimes it's nice to just take stuff like this and let them serve a purpose that is not what they were intended to be. So if we quickly come inside here, you'll see that for the most part, this is where the butcher is going to come and then throw down any of his raw meats, and whether it be with an axe, a sword, or even his bare hands, he's going to punch them, grind them until they're ready to cook, and then from there, he can move them from the countertop to the chest, which will then feed into the hooper hopper, which will then place them inside the furnace, and from there the raw meats will begin to cook, and then the customers can just idly stand around here. Now phase 3 is going to consist of not only doing some landscaping around the village, but also doing some interior decorating. So as you just saw for our blacksmith and for the butcher shop, they could use a little bit of interior decorating, and hopefully when I bring it back for the final segment of this episode, yous will be fairly chuffed with what I have to show yous. Now, this is going to be my storage unit and also my enchanting area. Real quick, inside of these chests here, this is where my wooden materials are going to go, and then within these chests, this is where my stone resources are going to go. Inside this double chest, this is where miscellaneous items can be placed. Inside here, this is where any mob drops can be stored at, and then we have our small little enchanting setup right here. Now, seeing as how I do not plan to live or inhabit this village for a long period of time, I'm not going to go overboard with the enchanting station, but nevertheless, it's something, and that's better than nothing. So now, like what I said, I'm going to begin phase 3, which is going to be the final phase of this transformation project. Once again, I'm going to be doing some landscaping. I'm going to take some bone meal, lace the grass with it, so that way then we get these grass bits along with our floral accessories, and then I'll take some saplings, place them down, and with time and patience and no assistance from bone meal, I'll let them grow up to be happy little trees, much like the ones that we have surrounding the micro crop farms. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, there's a few things that I want to address before we go ahead and proceed with this segment. The first thing is, I woke up not that long ago, so if I sound any different, then that is why. The second thing is, I have stretched production on this episode over the course of one whole business week, and that is a little more time than I would have liked to have spent on a single episode, but I didn't want to start something and then leave you hanging with it being halfway completed or nothing at all. So with that being said, I want to announce that I will be doing a Mixer live stream fairly soon, is what I'm going to say. Be sure to follow me on Twitter at Vanillaraccoon, or you can go ahead and join my Discord server, which is where I make any announcements, anything pertaining to YouTube and Mixer well ahead before I even share the news on Twitter as well. So looking forward to seeing anyone coming out to that Mixer live stream. But with that all being said, let's take a look at what I've done for phase 3. So the first things first, going back to what I had stated in the early portion of this episode, and that is establishing a little bit of a flower garden. Now, my original idea was to just take flowers like what we have right here and also right here and just scatter them around the place. But then I realized that regardless of which type of flower it is, so long as it is 2 blocks in height, then we can just take some bone meal, which I don't have on me apparently. Let's just quickly fix that. But I can take some bone meal and then just get an infinite amount of that flower, and that can either be for, what are you, for the, I can't say that name off the top of my head right now, or the rose bush, or even the lilac, I don't know how to pronounce that one either. And then also, I thought it would be suiting to just take some pumpkin seeds and sprinkle them around the place. And this may not look all that appealing and may not be that attractive looking, but it is nevertheless a flower garden, and I'm happy with that. Also, to try and just cover up the sides of the grass blocks along with the soil blocks in this hillside, I decided to take some of these dandelions, yes, and just, place them around so we don't have that much of an eyesore. Now here's the thing, okay? Most of phase 3 was focused on this section of the village. And the reason why is because it was a very open area and I didn't want to have that. And I hear a zombie and I don't know where he is, and that's really irritating me. So let me just quickly go ahead. Music sounds, hostile creatures, turn them all the way off. There we go. I was watching Winter Graves' video where he had some thunder going on and he couldn't figure out how to reduce the sound of the thunder. So real quick, also, Winter, buddy old pal, what you want to do is take your weather audio settings, turn it all the way down to 5, and then when you are recording, set your master volume to 40 as well. You can keep the ambient environment at 60% if you want, like what I have, but you want to make sure that weather audio is cranked really low. Okay, so moving forward, when I was working on phase 3 for that section of the village, my original thought was, okay, people are going to have access to it via System CFIM's butcher shop. And then I thought, well, maybe someone doesn't want to go through a butcher shop in order to make it to that side of the village. Maybe they're just going to go ahead and walk down this pathway. Well then, I started to excavate this area and just do a little bit of landscaping so that we can create this nifty looking passageway, sort of like a ravine, if you will, that dried up. Maybe, we used to have a river that would flow here, and that's why we have some of the erosion going on as well. That's what the cobblestone based blocks are supposed to emulate. But like I said, so we have this little passageway that leads through here. It could be a little claustrophobic, so you may want to watch where you step. And we have some plant life growing along with some crops, but the crops are just for decorational purposes, whereas the plants and the leaf blocks, they're just to help immerse you within, like, okay, this used to be a riverbed, possibly, maybe it's now a ravine of some sort. You get the idea. But then once you make your way through it, you're gonna see this nice little naturally formed fountain, if you will. Up here we're gonna have a 2x2 water source that's then going to stream all the way down here and plop down into the little pond like thing we have. So this is just something that I thought I would do when I was out playing Pokemon Go with some of my peeps from a local Pokemon Go group that I joined over the summer. I saw something similar to this and I thought, you know what, let's try and incorporate that into Minecraft somehow. Hopefully I did it justice. And oh, can we not die while we do this? There we go. And so as you continue to make your way down this pathway, you're also going to see a lot of trees, but through the trees you're going to continue to see some of the noisy bushes. This is where maybe it gets a little thick in regards to the plant life that we have going on right now. And then also we have something of a wall. Now this is going to act as just keeping the landscape intact. Maybe erosion is starting to get a little heavy and the hillside is beginning to collapse within itself. If you're ever out wandering around, or maybe you drive along some type of a highway or interstate, you'll see on the side a huge hill that has a bunch of boulders and rocks, and then maybe they have some type of a tarp or net holding them back, and then there's like a sign that says caution, falling rocks area type of deal. So that's all that's going to be acting as. But also real quick, this is something that I was really trying to focus on when doing phase 3. So in the event that anyone goes through Systems CFIM's butcher shop right here, then you'll see all of this. And let's just go ahead and enter theater mode so we can have a clean screen and nothing obstruct our view. Just look at that view, peeps. Just look at that view. This is really, it's very scenic. Like the vibe I was going for was like, once you come to this side of the village, you'll see like, okay, this is where maybe there could be some type of a park, a grove, if you will. And then as you continue to walk along the pathway, you'll see key points of interest. And then right here, this is where travelers can go to and from the village. So like this could be an entrance / exit point, and this could lead us all the way back over to this side of the village where we have the micro crop farms. I'm just going to quickly eat some of my potatoes so I don't get hungry and I can begin to regen some health. This is just a little duck pond, nothing fancy, nothing over the top, and I like how it looks. It's very nice, it's very pretty, very simple, all things that I like to do in a build. Now for our storage unit, I decided to incorporate some type of a backyard grill, and this is what I have for now. I'm sure during the live stream I'll be able to do a touch-up job on it where we can make it look a little more interesting, make it look a little more pretty. But now that it's getting to be dusk, I think that's a good note to end this episode on. If it ended up being shorter than usual, then I sincerely apologize. Let's just go ahead and seek shelter within the house that we first laid our head to rest in so that we can make it the day. Hello, little piggy wig. You gonna help me close out this episode? Alrighty. So that's gonna do it for this episode, ladies and gentlemen. As always, if you enjoyed it, then be sure to drop a like. And if you are new to the channel, then I invite you to check out the rest of it. But do not forget to turn on notifications when subscribing. That way you will then be notified when future Minecraft and other gameplay content is uploaded by yours truly, Vanillaraccoon. I would like to wish you a happy day, and peace out.